wanted to take a second and ponder with you, think with you about the soul of the minister. When we do ministry, we do it from the soul. Otherwise, we are professionals, and I don't want that for you. I certainly don't want that for the church, and I don't think Jesus does either. The first thing I would say to you is that we have to get the right definition of success. If you look at the Bible, 1 Corinthians 4 and other places, faithfulness, that is the definition of success. People can be faithful and have huge ministries with great followings. People can be faithful and toil in relative obscurity, and both of them will meet Jesus and hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant." The question is how? How do you remain faithful? You don't have to look very far, nor do you have to have these stories, these accounts, if you will, of people who have crashed and burned somewhere along the way. So, I want to encourage you to be faithful. And how do you go about doing that? A couple of thoughts. This little illustration is super helpful for me. Somebody gave it to me a long time ago, and I've used it and used it and used it. First of all, you start with the center of the wheel, and that is your relationship with Jesus. You have to work on your relationship with Christ. That means you build in your own spiritual disciplines. You read the Bible. You pray. You serve. You do the things that you are supposed to do. You fast. You give. You do the things that you're supposed to do that shapes your own soul. If you were not in professional ministry, meaning you weren't drawing a paycheck, if you were just a person showing up to a church, these are the kinds of things that would be really important for you to do. It'd be the kinds of things that you want your people doing. You need to do those as well. You need to have your own relationship with Jesus. You need to have kind of an authentic accountability structure, and your life needs to be marked by repentance. If you're going to lead people to repentance, you need to be a person who is repenting yourself. And lastly, that you follow no matter what ministry is or the consequences are, that your life is simply marked by, I follow Jesus, no matter what. That's the center of it all. That is your relationship with Jesus, because if you don't know God and are not following him, then what you say will come up empty at some point. Doesn't matter how big your following is. If you're not a follower yourself, what you say will come up empty. Secondly, these spokes. I'm pulling most of this from 1 Timothy chapter 3 and Titus chapter 1, where it talks about the character of the elder or overseer or pastor. But these spokes are character. When you think about a bicycle wheel, it's the spokes that keep it in line. The hub is the thing that keeps it centered. The spokes are the thing that keep it supported and in line. And how many people do we know whose lives and ministries have crashed and burned because they did not have good character? Here's some pieces of that character that I think will help you a lot. Number one, purity. That you pursue a kind of holiness that is reflected in the teachings of Jesus and in the teachings, the broader teachings of the Bible. You do not for a moment compromise regarding money or sexuality or anything else. You pursue purity. Secondly, that you practice generosity. Yes, with your money, but also with your time and with the things that you have, the talents that you may have. You practice generosity. You do so in a way that lets others know that you are being generous with them without feeling like they owe you something, or that even you should receive praise as a result of it. Thirdly, that you practice faithfulness. No matter what you're doing, no matter where the context is, you practice faithfulness, because you want to be the same person on the inside as you are on the outside. You want to be the same person off of whatever platform God may give you as you are on the platform. Fourthly, you practice a kind of self-control. I cannot tell you how many people have gotten themselves into trouble because they didn't practice self-control, and not just regarding sexuality or something else, but also they couldn't control their diet, and so their health waned. They couldn't control their anger, and so their relationships exploded also. And lastly, you practice service. You're a servant of Jesus before you are a preacher of his word, and so you practice service. There is no task that is beneath you. If the toilets need cleaning, you clean the toilets. If the trash needs taken out, you take the trash out. You practice service. Those are spokes that will help you maintain strength as God carries you. And lastly, the outside tire is really the only thing that the world sees or pays attention to. But I framed it this way, that you would let God, through you, develop a kind of a life message. This will take some time. Don't feel like you need to have it today, but these are the things that you just say because they're in your heart to say. It would be something like a wheelhouse message. If God brought you up on a platform at any point and they said, man, just give us a word, it would be the thing that you run to first. For me personally, I talk about the kingdom. I talk about his transformational power. I talk about those kinds of things. Those are wheelhouse messages for me. And I preach them all the time and from any number of texts. But very practically, this life message, if you will, that God will bring through you will help you find your voice. Your voice doesn't have to sound like somebody else's. In fact, I think copycatting, imitation is a fantastic form of flattery. It's the highest form of flattery, somebody has said. But copycatting and preaching is not really who you want to be. God has given you a unique voice with unique experiences and passions. And so I want to encourage you to let God develop your own unique voice. You will also develop your own unique style, whatever it may be and whatever it shakes out and however it expresses itself. He will give you your own unique style. And lastly, this kind of life message will have its own content, and that you just need to let God you develop that and develop it through you. There will be something in your life that God continues to say, and so I want to encourage you to let him develop that. This is how we minister from our souls. This is how we stay in the spiritual race and in ministry.